Get ready to learn 4 behaviors that can really strengthen your relationship, especially if you engage in these 4 behaviors that are really hurtful for your relationship. All right, John Gottman, who is a popular couples researcher, he's done a lot of research on what makes relationships thrive, as well as what are behaviors that are not helpful. He has said that he can interpret or look at a couple having a conversation and with 93% accuracy can predict whether this couple will get divorced based on these behaviors if he notices these behaviors in these interactions. So these are the 4 horsemen of relationships, or like what he likes to call them, the 4 horsemen. I went through these in another video, but I'm going to quickly go over them. But today I'm also going to go over the antidotes, so the things that you can do to really combat or get rid of these really hurtful behaviors in your relationship. The first one is really criticism. So criticism is pretty much when you just verbally attack or insult your partner. You might attack their character. You just really go really hard on them. And so the antidote to that is using gentle startup. What is gentle startup? Gentle startup has 2 components, using I statements as well as expressing a positive need. So here's an example. I feel blank when blank. I need blank. So I feel unimportant when date night is not a priority. I need us both to prioritize date night. Again, instead of saying, I can't believe you forgot about date night again. I keep bringing it up. You keep ignoring this. What's wrong with you? You don't care about me. You're a horrible partner, right? That criticism, that insulting, that's much different than you expressing how you feel about it and what you need. Also, it's really important in like your tone and how you approach your partner in those moments as well. And if you're feeling like hurt or angry and maybe it's not the right time to express what you need to be aware of that. Something else that I always tell my couples, it's also like the timing piece. So like also it's helpful to check in and ask your partner, is this a good time to touch base about something that's bothering me? Because if you're just like kind of bring this on in a moment where your partner's already stressed or overwhelmed, clearly they're less likely to be attuned or attentive to your needs in that moment. The second one that I'm going to go through, it's really contempt. So this takes the next level from just criticism to contempt is really the sense of like you feeling above or better than your partner. You even can notice that in like your tone of voice, your body language, like rolling your eyes, sarcasm. Really, it's just this air of superiority that you have when you're talking. You're like talking down to your partner. It can also look like just really like verbally assaulting them, really kind of getting into like a character trait about them that's really horrible. Like, I can't believe this house is a mess again. You're such a freaking slob. You're just like, our 2-year-old could keep this house better than you, right? You're just really kind of going in and going hard at your partner, or you're so stupid. How could you do that? How could you say that? Right? Again, all of that, I mean, naturally, we know that's not helpful, but that contempt, why it's really important, because that's the one that really could be a huge predictor of a relationship not lasting if one or both partners engages in that behavior. The antidote to contempt is really creating a culture of appreciation. So that can look many different ways. So that can look like starting to notice like these positive traits or qualities about your partner, having a little bit more gratitude, and whether you do that internally or expressing that towards your partner. An exercise that I have my clients do, it's I appreciate. So like this act of appreciation. So every day trying to notice 1 to 3 things that your partner did that day that you're really grateful for. And I really like this exercise, one, because it also shifts the focus on like what's not working or these negative qualities or traits, which when you're having intense conflict or feeling disconnected, that might be the only thing you can see. And not only are you noticing that and being aware of that, it's that then you're also going to try to express it. So have like this moment of connection with your partner and vice versa, that your partner is going to do the same thing. So really kind of building this culture of appreciation could be doing an exercise like that. It can also just be shifting, again, the way you engage with your partner, how you talk to them, how you treat them. Oftentimes, I'll say you might treat the Starbucks barista better than your partner at home, even in how you approach them. So just kind of keep that in mind. The third horseman is defensiveness. So defensiveness can look kind of different ways. It's literally either kind of shifting the blame, deflecting if your partner brings up a concern, or it can like be victimizing yourself. So if your partner asks you, hey, did you follow up on paying that bill that I had asked you to do? And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're asking me this. Do you see how busy I was? And I don't know why you didn't take that upon yourself. I have all these things on my plate. Why can't you take the initiative? Right? You're shifting the accountability, like that you're deflecting and blaming to your partner. So the antidote to that is really taking responsibility and accountability, and also apologizing when you've messed up. So in that example, it would be first kind of, again, noticing your reaction to want to get defensive and seeing if you can do something to curb that reaction, and seeing if you can just listen and really try to understand, what is my partner trying to tell me? What are they trying to express to me? Of course, this goes back to this first one of gentle startup. Hopefully your partner's expressing their dissatisfaction in a gentle way as well. But I often will hear clients say, like, I tried to say it in the most gentle way and I still got a defensive response from my partner. So if you are that partner that is prone to getting defensive, and again, we all are at times, it's really kind of noticing and saying, okay, can I take accountability? Can I own where I messed up? And of course, we're human, so we all mess up, and that's okay. My partner's not trying to shame me or make me feel bad. They're just trying to express something that's bothering them. And can I apologize? Can I accept that I did something wrong and own it and say, you know what, honey, I am really sorry. You did ask me to do that last week and I'm continuing to put it off. Sorry about that. I'm really going to try to get to that tomorrow. Right? Like owning that accountability. And sometimes when you can just own the accountability, it can just end there because your partner is just expressing it. Again, it's also whether the partner accepts that apology. It's also, I find, really key as well. So just kind of, again, the antidote to that would be taking responsibility and apologizing. I'm not going to lie. This can be like, that apologizing part can be hard for me at times. If I get in this like shame spiral, or if it's like in a moment where I'm like already vulnerable, that I might be more reactive. So just be aware of also what can get in the way of you implementing some of these antidotes. What I also find that can be really helpful to even like practice some of these antidotes, it's being really intentional about having a time to check in about your relationship, whether that's weekly, every other week. I think Gottman calls this the State of the Union, and comment State of the Union below if you want me to talk about that more, do another video on that. But either way, having like a dedicated time where you're really going in, trying to understand each other, focus on what worked, what are we thriving on, what's not working, what do we want to change, whether it's stuff like communication that's going on, whether it's intimacy, sex, whatever it is that you have a dedicated space to really explore that. And maybe that both of you are going in with that mentality, so you're less likely to maybe get reactive. All right, the fourth horseman is stonewalling. So stonewalling is really when you start to just shut down, and shut down can look different ways. Shut down can look like you're just like, okay. So you're kind of just like saying what your partner wants to hear just to kind of get the conversation over with. Shut down can literally be like silent treatment. So you stop responding, you stop engaging, literally just walking away from the conversation without any prompting. Typically, someone starts to stonewall because they feel flooded. They're overwhelmed internally, like their nervous system is activated, and maybe they don't realize that. And so eventually it gets into this like stonewalling, right? So sometimes I think the metaphor is like a turtle that goes back in their shell, like they're feeling so overwhelmed and they have to go back in their shell. But if they're not expressing that or sharing that with their partner might just see like the stonewalling, like I can't reach you, I can't get to you. And that feels really hard to be on the receiving end of that. I'm trying to connect with you. I'm trying to tell you this matters to me and you've cut me off. So something that like the antidote to that is self-soothing. So if you're the partner that tends to get flooded, or both of you do, depending on the interaction or different moments, it's the accountability of each partner saying, like, noticing when they're getting flooded, like what are the physiological signs that you're getting flooded? Do you start noticing your heart beating faster? Maybe you're noticing that you're just like clenching your hands. Maybe, again, you're just noticing something shifts internally. Maybe you notice your mind's racing. Whatever the cues are for you, it's helpful for you to know that you're starting to get flooded and that you need to really take a break because your nervous system is being activated and you have to do something different to really kind of calm down your nervous system. So taking a 20-minute break and communicating that very clearly to your partner. Hey, you know what? Right now I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I do need a break. I'm sorry. I know this is really important to you and I want to wrap back around. And that's really key that you do wrap back around, that you guys do wrap back around to that, talking about that, resolving that, whatever that looks like. But right now I need a break, 20 minutes. And 20 minutes might really look like what's really important is doing an activity that's going to help your nervous system get back to baseline. So that can look something like I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to listen to some music. I'm going to do like some quick stretches, yoga, whatever the case is. What's really important as well in these 20 minutes is that you don't sit there and ruminate about everything that just happened and like almost get yourself stuck in that like heightened alarm anger, frustration, flooded mode, because that's not going to help you. That's not going to help you kind of really de-escalate. You need to be very intentional, figure out what do I need to do to kind of bring my nervous system back to a place where then I can try to be open and I can listen and I can engage with my partner. Now, what I do find for the partner that is on the other end, that they want to continue the conversation, it might feel really hard to honor and respect that your partner needs a break because your maybe way of engaging, your attachment style is different. And so you get really anxious until it's resolved. And so again, that also might be a cue to you and really kind of noticing the stories of like, your partner's not disengaging because they don't, want to, talk to you, or this conversation isn't important, or you're not important. It's that they are overwhelmed and they need to take a cooling moment to just make sure they're okay. And so you can also take that opportunity to self-soothe as well. Give me a thumbs up now if these antidotes were helpful for you. And most importantly, really think about how to practice this in your relationship, because listen, you can have all the knowledge and information, but if you're not taking it to like actual practice in your relationship, then it can be really hard. Now, if you're one person that's watching this video and your partner is not watching this video, don't be dismayed, because a lot of times when I do work with couples, it's really recognizing like the cycle that we're getting stuck in. And if one of us can change that cycle, it can positively impact the cycle. So I would still encourage you to try to take accountability for your part and seeing what changes you can make. And I would even encourage you like to focus on you and not like, oh, my partner needs to do that, my partner needs to change. And in a conversation, oh, you're stonewalling, or oh, you're criticizing me. Like that's counterintuitive. That's not how I want you to apply these antidotes. I would encourage you to look at your role and what you could do differently. And like I always say, I encourage you to continue nurturing your mind, body, and soul, whatever that looks like for you guys. Thanks.